Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So today we are studying Ode to the West Wind by P.B. Shelley. So Ode to the West Wind is an ode written by Shelley in 1819 in Caskin Wood near Florence, Italy. It was originally published in 1820 by Charles in London as part of the collection of Prometheus Unbound, a lyrical drama in four acts with other poems. Perhaps more than anything else, Shelley wanted his message of reform and revolution spread, and the wind becomes the trope for spreading the word of change through the poet prophet figure. Some also believe that the poem was written in response to loss of his son, William, who was born to Mary Shelley in 1819. So maybe this pain influenced Shelley for writing the ode. Ode is a poem which is a lyrical poem and that is meant to be sung or address someone. So this is the text of the poem. So here he says, O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being, thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven like ghosts from an enchanter's fling, yellow and black and pale and hectic red. So here he is talking to the wind. His O means I wish for or please listen to me. He is addressing the wind. So उसे address करते हुए क्या कह रहा है? You are the sign of autumn's breath. Like when you move, when you are there, it seems that autumn has already arrived. And though from whose unseen presence, and whenever you are here, though you're wind and you are unseen, but still we can feel you, the leaves that are driven like ghosts from an enchanter's fling. Dead leaves run as soon as you come, as if when enchanter comes, like a person who is exorcist and who is skilled in fleeing the ghosts. So when he comes, all the dead leaves are driven, like you can see in the picture that all the dead leaves are moving when the wind is there. So just like the ghost flees seeing an enchanter or his magical words, in the same way, when autumn's wind is here, all the leaves are flying yellow, and leaves dead means those leaves which are lifeless, which are not attached to the trees. Yellow and black and pale and hectic red. So this is the color. You can see in the picture that the leaves here are of different colors and they are all gathered in a way like some are yellow, some are black, some are pale, some are hectic red. So the different colors of these leaves and pestilence stricken multitudes. And when they're gathered together, they're just like dead bodies who are pestilence stricken, like Black Death, like some other disease, like COVID. Like so many people are dead and you don't have any place to bury them. So they are placed on the top of each other. So in this way, all the leaves are gathered together. So this is all done by the west wind. Oh, thou whose chariotest to their dark wintry bed, the winged seeds. And what you also do, you also take to the wintry bed those seeds who have wings. So seeds do not have wings. They just fly when there is wind around. So by the dint of wind, the seeds are flying from one place to another. And where they lie cold and low, and where the seeds are placed in the snow on the ground, and they are cold, they are low inside the ground, each like a corpse within its grave. And just like a dead body is placed into a particular grave, in the same way, all the seeds are put into a grave, into the soil, until thine azure sister of spring, until the time of spring comes. Azure is sky blue color, shall blow her clarion over the dreaming earth. So when spring comes, so just like a clarion will be blown on the day of judgment and all the dead bodies will get up again, in the same way, when spring comes, it also blows its clarion and all the dreaming seeds, they come back to life and fell, driving sweet birds like flock to feed in the air. So sweet birds are also fled in the air because of wind with living hues. So it fills everything with living colors and odors and smell, plain and hill, on ground, on the mountains. So everywhere we can find that spring is taking all the seeds and all their smell and all the colorful things. Wild spirit. So he is attributing west wind as a wild spirit which cannot be controlled, which are moving everywhere because you are everywhere, you're going everywhere. Destroyer and preserver, you are destroyer and preserver at the same time, here or here. So here he is attributing wild wind, west wind, as destroyer and preserver both. And in the end, in the first three stanzas, he end on this thing, here or here. Like he is telling the qualities of west wind, he's telling the strength of the west wind. And the last line, here or here, here the poet is accepting that he is nothing, he is impotent, he doesn't have any power, and he wishes to get power from the west wind, he wishes the help of west wind because he expresses his inability to do something. So west wind is said to be destroyer and preserver. So west wind is destroyer in a way that is it destroys the dead leaves, it kills them, it brings them back to the earth into the graves, and it is preserver in a way that it takes the seeds away and it throws the seeds somewhere where there is snow on them, and then they become a part of the earth soil, and then when spring comes the same dead seeds they give life to new plants. So west wind in this way is destroyer and preserver. So here, since west wind is the symbol of revolution, Shelley was much influenced by the French Revolution. So here the French Revolution is also a symbol or also working as destroyer and preserver. French Revolution is destroyer because it is destroying the people, the nobility, the aristocrats, the cruel people, and it is preserving those innocent people, common people, downtrodden people, poor people. So, just like West Wind, revolution is also destroyer and preserver. Those on whose stream, mid the steep sky's commotion, loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are shed, shook from the tangled boughs of heaven and ocean. Angels of rain and lightning there are spread. So here, in the first stanza, Shelley was talking about the effect of west wind on earth. Now here, in this stanza, Shelley is talking about the effect of west wind in the sky. So he says, on whose stream that when you're moving with the steep sky's commotion, like in the disorderly sky, when where there is havoc, there is all darkness and all the wind and all the dust which is flying with the wind. Loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are shed. The same way that wind let the leaves shed from the trees on the earth, in the same way, the same wind is affecting the clouds and they are being shed, they're being scattered, shook from the tangled boughs of heaven and ocean. All the leaves that were previously in the first stanza shed from the boughs of trees. So here he is giving the same example to the clouds who were then attached to the heaven, yani to sky, to the ocean, yani from horizon to the sky, everything was covered with the clouds. So what did west wind do? It scattered them as well. Angels of rain and lightning there are spread, and it seems like personification is used here, that some angels of rain are there who are making rain and lightning so fierce that they are spread on the blue surface of thine airy surge, that they're spread everywhere. And on the blue surface of sky, where the airy surge, where the movement of wind is very much there, it seems like the bright air uplifted from the head of some fierce maenad. Now, this picture in front of you shows that like it was a priestess who used to worship, and like when she was in trance, her hair would move up, like you can see in the picture. So he's comparing the movement of wind with the hair of the Maenad. So the way the ladies' hair are moving disorderly all over, in the same way, when wind is moving, it is moving all over, and it is prevailing all over, and the dust and the darkness and the wind, they're creating such an atmosphere that you can see in the hair of the minute, even from the dim verge of the horizon. And this scene is very much visible from horizon to the zenith side to the sky's height. Everything is filled with that, the locks of approaching storm. So the locks of approaching storm. Now here he's using one symbol for both things. For the lock also means here, and lock also means the movement of wind, which is just like the locks of this lady, and which is signifying that the storm is expected, storm is about to come. Thou dirge of the dying year, and you are a mourning song which is sung on the death of someone. And now you are being, now the voice or the whistling sound of wind is the dirge. जो हवा की जो साइंस आए हैं उसको कह रहा है कि this is the sound of the dying year, because this uh, sound of wind is only heard when it is autumn, when the year is about to end, about to die. So this is the mourning song of the death of the year, to which this closing night, and this very night will be the dome of a vast sepulchre. Now, this night will prove to be a vast grave, a vast tomb, vaulted with all thy congregated might. Congregated means together, all at one place. So, this is all covered with your complete strength, and so you are basically preparing a grave for this year, this closing year. Might of vapors, and this will be filled with vapors from whose solid atmosphere, and from this atmosphere, from this disastrous atmosphere, black rain and fire and hail will burst to here. So what will come down? Black rain, because it is rain in the dark, and fire. Fire means lightning, and hail, jo ole hain, so they will come down. Oh, here again he accepts that I am nothing and I need you to help me. So here Shelley has used very potential kind of symbols, very potential kind of imagery. Like this is very violent kind of imagery which we see in it. So this is the same violence that we see in revolution. When French Revolution came, it had more like serious kind of adjectives that Shelley has used in this poem. So this congregated might, dirge, and death, and dying year, and approaching storm, burst, fire, black rain, hail. So all these things are creating a very dreadful kind of environment in the night. So Shelley is basically giving all these qualities to revolution. Here he means that revolution is not only limited to earth, it is everywhere. It is found everywhere, its effects can be seen everywhere, its horrors, its pleasures can be seen everywhere. Pleasures in a way when it becomes a preserver. Thou who didst waken from his summer dreams the blue Mediterranean where he lay, lulled by the coil of crystalline streams, beside a pumic isles in Bay's Bay. Now, here the effect of west wind is seen on or in the ocean, on the ocean and in the ocean both. So here he tells that it is you, the wind, that you woke the Mediterranean, the blue Mediterranean. So blue is a characteristic of this sea. When it is calm, it is silent, it is not stormy. So it is all transparent and reflecting the sky, and when the weather is sunny. So he says that for a long time, all through the summers, the Mediterranean seemed like it was sleeping, and it was you basically who came and woke the ocean up, where he lay lulled by the coils of the crystalline streams. So it seemed that Mediterranean had slept with the sound of its own streams which were moving. जिस तरह हम waves बड़ी अच्छी लगती हैं हमें, बारिश की आवाज़ बड़ी अच्छी लगती है सोते वक्त. So it seemed that Mediterranean slept because of its own very inactive and passive kind of movement. Beside a pumic isle on Bays Bay, so he's telling the geographical location. Bays Bay is a place where there is an island. Apart from that, there is Mediterranean Sea. What he's talking about, and saw in sleep old palaces and towers, quivering within waves intense day. And then he says that Westwind, you also must have seen all those palaces and towers shivering with the fear, and when the light is reflecting on them through the ocean, and you can see them, because Mediterranean is in Atlantic Ocean, and it was said that the whole Atlantic continent was drowned into it, and it has so many palaces in it. So it says that even those buildings within the ocean, they are terrified after listening to the sound of west wind, all overgrown with azure moss and flowers. So since they are in water, so they're all filled with moss and flowers. Vegetations उन पे उग गई हैं, काई उग गई है उनके ऊपर. So sweet the sense faints picturing them, and they're looking so beautiful in summers. So within summer, they look so beautiful that we cannot even picture them. We can only imagine them. Even if we try to imagine them, our sense is fainting because that image is so beautiful. Thou for whose path the Atlantic level powers cleave themselves into chasm. So you are having such power that when you come, like you can see in the image, that the sea is split from inside. So it happens when an aeroplane is trying to move over the sea or trying to land over it. So it starts to split in the same way in the picture we can see. So this also happens when the wind is so fierce or it is so intense. So what you do, you also cleave the Atlantic powers and you bring a gap in them, while far below and deep down in the sea blooms and the oozy woods, and beneath or in the base of the sea, where there are vegetations, which were the shapeless foliage of the ocean, which are now a part and parcel of the ocean, which are now the vegetation of the ocean, know thy voice, and even they know your voice. They know what kind of thing you are, and suddenly go grey with fear. And when they listen to your voice, their green color changes to grey because they are afraid of you, and tremble and despoil themselves are here. And within the sea, because of your pressure, they tremble, they shiver rapidly, very violently, and they after shivering, they smash against each other, and they are spoiled. And then he says, "Oh, here, that you, this much powerful wind, I am requesting you to help me." Oh, here means help me. So he is first praising the wind and then he's seeking the help of the wind. Now, here he is coming to the point. Here he is accepting or he is telling his narrative, what basically he wanted to say to the wind. If I were a dead leaf, thou mightest bear. If I were a swift cloud to fly with thee, a wave to pant beneath thy power and share the impulse of thy strength, only less free. Now he says he compares himself to all three things. Like on earth, it was leaf. On the in the sky, it was cloud. In the ocean, it was wave. So he's comparing himself. Now let's see that leaf, cloud, and wave. They're never moving with their own power. They're always inactive. They move when there is some strong impulse with them, which is wind. So he says, I'm also an inactive person, like a leaf, like a cloud, like a wave. I need your support. I need your strength to move with me. So I wish I were a dead leaf, that I was moving with you. I wish I was a swift cloud, that I was flying with your power. Or I wish I was a wave of the ocean and I was taking breath or moving with the power of wind and share the impulse of thy strength, only less free. And I could also share your power, and I could be only less free than you. Now, here he says, like, for example, we see that if there is a minister, so his subordinate is almost an equal minister, because whatever the powers of ministers are, his subordinate is thought to be having almost the same power, because he can persuade him and he can get accepted whatever he wants. So in the same way, Shelley doesn't have his own power, or the leaf doesn't have its own power, but the leaf is also flying in the air. So it is less freer than the wind, but at least it is flying. Then thou, like, I'm not exactly like you, but to some extent I want to be like you. Oh, uncontrollable. So he's attributing the wind to be so wild that this cannot be controlled. If even I were in my boyhood and could be the comrade of thy wanderings over heaven. So he's telling about his boyhood, where when he was so active, so radical, so violent, so revolutionary. He says, in the boyhood, I was the comrade of thy wandering over heaven. So I was just like you. I was having impulse. I was like you were there on in the sky. I was here on the earth. I was a friend of your wanderings on the sky. And then went to outstrip thy skied speed. And I wanted to compete with you. I was so revolutionary and radical in nature that I wanted to compete with you. Scarce seemed a vision. Now this seems only a dream. I would never have striven as thus with thee in prayer in my sore need, and I would have never disturbed you. I would never have come to you. But I now need to come to you because I am in my sore need. I am in a dire need of your help. Oh, lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. The way you lift up a leaf, a wave, a cloud, please lift me as well. I fall upon the thrones of life, I bleed. Now he's accepting the harsh realities of life, and he says that I am in too much pains and troubles and I am bleeding. A heavy weight of ours has chained and bowed, one too like thee, tameless and swift and proud. Now, I was once like you. I was tameless, I was fearless, I was swift, I was quick, I was proud, and I was I had pride in my speed and my revolutionary ideas. But now, after it's been a long time since that thing used to be in me. Now, the passing time has chained me and bowed me. And once I used to be like you, once I used to be free, but there are certain things, miseries, troubles, anguish that has bowed me down. But I want to be like you. Make me thy lyre, even as the forest is. What if my leaves are falling like its own? The tumult of thy mighty harmonies will take from both a deep autumnal tone. Now he says, make me a lyre. Lyre is a musical instrument, just like a guitar. It has strings on it and it is so sensitive that it moves when wind blows. So he says, like, let me be a lyre, or just like a forest. If my leaves are also falling, if I am losing all my youth, all my revolutionary ideas, if there is autumn on me, the tumult of thy mighty harmonies will take from both an autumnal tone, sweet though in sadness. So your moving can get from both, yani from trees you can get an autumnal tone that it is time of autumn, and from my sad voice, you can get the same tone of the autumn tone. That may be sweet, but that is in sadness. Music is sweeter always, though sometimes it is sad. Be thou, spirit fierce, my spirit. Now, please be, वो कहते हैं रंजा रंजा कर दी मैं आप पे रंजा हुई, लाइक बी दाउ स्पिरिट फेयर्स माई स्पिरिट, कि मुझे अपनी स्पिरिट बना लो या मेरी स्पिरिट बन जाओ. बी दाउ मी. नो यू, either you become Shelley or let Shelley become the part of West Wind. Impetuous one, you're the quick one, you're the harsh one, you're someone who cannot be stopped, or who is in always in a haste. Drive my dead thoughts over the universe, like the withered leaves to quicken a new birth. The way or the thing you do with the leaves, that you drive the dead leaves over the earth, and the seeds coming down from them into the soil, they give birth to new leaves. So do the same with me. Make me, consider me a dead leaf, and drive my dead thoughts all over, and then give me a new birth, or from those thoughts, please issue forth a new idea for me. And by the incantation of this verse, and whatever I am writing, consider it an incantation, and scatter as from an unextinguisher. Please scatter my revolutionary ideas, my words. Like it happens that some hearth which is not completely extinguished, ashes and sparks, when you try to hit the wood, which is semi burning or semi put off, we can see that there are so many ashes and sparks in that. So please, in the same way, spread my words against the mankind. आधी बुझी लकड़ी जो कोयला होता है उसे आप फेंकेंगे तो चिंगारियां निकलती हैं. तो वो कह रहे हैं इसी तरह मेरे वर्ड्स हर जगह पे फैला दिए जाएं. Be through my lips to unawakened earth. Now take my words and take it to the dreaming people, the trumpet of a prophecy. So Shelley is also sometimes hopeful by the end of his poem. So those words will be trumpet of a prophecy. Those words will be signal of a prophecy. O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? That if bad time has come, so good time is also to come very soon. Like we had a night between, like it was the previous night was the longest night of December. So, but again we had a dawn today. So this shows that every bad thing is preceded with a good thing, and there is always a hope after hopelessness. So winter जो है इंग्लैंड में हम देखते हैं, it is all snowy, हर चीज़ ख़त्म हो जाती है, and then again spring comes when new buds are there, when new flowers, new plants, new fruits, new life takes birth. So in this way he says that though I am not being able to be an active revolutionary like you, West Wind, though I used to be, but now I am not, but like leaf is indirectly sharing the power of West Wind, so I am, let me be a passive revolutionary, but at least take my ideas from me and spread them among the mankind. Now Shelley is saying here that he may not be a revolutionary, that he may go and fight in French Revolution or revolutions elsewhere, but he says that at least I should be writing about this thing. I should be writing about the rights of people. I should be writing about just and unjust. I should be writing about what's good and what's bad, what's evil, what's virtue. So he wants to say that I need wind to support me, or revolutionary ideas to support me, so that I may not be rusted, and I may bring forth different ideas, unique ideas. So this was Ode to the West Wind, which was in 5 stanzas, in which he is making similarities between West Wind and French Revolution, basically.